So I want to talk about Shia. Yes, that Shia. Our God and Savior Sam Witwicky. In real life, that could be slander, but in Transformers universe, that's a real deal statement. He even points it out in the third movie. He saved the world twice, and nobody even cares who he is anymore. And ironically, I think that line perfectly parallels his life, at least just a little bit. Shia used to be every teenager's dream archetype. The not so cool guy getting thrust into an action-driven story, then of course gets the hot girl. He was the cornerstone for every summer blockbuster for like 5 years. No Shia equals no summer. Even when he had smaller roles before Transformers and Constantine and iRobot, Shia was still around. So what happened? Shia has had a rough life, more specifically a rough childhood. I know it's not an excuse for anything, but it should at least be acknowledged when passing judgment. Because we are not better just because we didn't go through this. Anywho, Shia basically been in and out of trouble since I even stepped foot out of the womb. Personally, I didn't know he was getting into this much trouble before Transformers, so doing this essay was a journey for me as well. Ironically enough, once more, Shia LaBeouf wrote an essay called Era Bleeds Sense, which is where I cross-reference a lot of these facts for the video. At age 9, Shia got arrested under the suspicion of stealing some Nike shoes, which to me is crazy to arrest a 9-year-old over that, but maybe I'm crazy. Later, he got arrested again at 11 for stealing a Game Boy at Kmart. Then apparently 2 days later, he got casted into Even Stevens, which to me is literally bananas, but that's how life can be sometimes. So him and his parents would still have been struggling at this time. Shia's dad was like a rodeo clown and a war veteran, which to me sounds like one of the scariest, wildest combinations possibly imaginable. A lot of people who have done some very bad things in history were associated with either of the two, if not both. And I definitely don't blame our brave soldiers either. It's really not fair how they would get thrown right back into society after what must have been an entirely unrelatable experience for any human being. But also, to be fair, PTSD was not widely known or taken as seriously as it is today. Now back to Shia and his timeline. After Shia got casted into Even Stevens, he apparently threatened to stab a neighbor over a dispute in 2005/2007. There's conflicting dates in regards to this specific incident, and they also don't explain why he did this. In 2008, while filming Eagle Eye, Shia LaBeouf apparently goes into the same Walgreens 3 separate times to ask for cigarettes. I'm not sure what the last straw was, but eventually the cops were called and he was charged with trespassing. But the charges were dropped, so that's good. Also in 2008, he was charged with a DUI after injuring his hand and 2 females in a car accident. Although very minor, he refused a breathalyzer and had to have his license suspended. Everything was dropped here as well. Shia was also fined for smoking a cigarette on the sidewalk in Burbank, which I didn't know wasn't allowed. So I guess that's on me. I don't travel a lot. I also think it's very important to note, Shia was still accepted in Hollywood at this point and was not yet blacklisted. But in 2011, the violence went to 11 and the outbursts got louder. While filming The Company You Keep with Stanley Tucci, Shia got into a bar fight because apparently he was punched in the face. I couldn't find any specific details as to why he did this allegedly, which essentially caused him to go off on everybody that was around him, even the people that were holding him back from getting in trouble. Then in 2012, Shia made co-star Mia Wasikowska. I know I did not say that correctly. Very uncomfortable to the point she almost quit production of the film. This was on the film Lawless, and apparently Shia LaBeouf was aware of his state and he continued to act this way anyways, with his method acting. 2014 was the cabaret incident, which arguably was the most damaging and biggest incident of something not being in the normal. This is where Shia drunkenly interrupts the performance, shouting, and then proceeds to assault Alan Cumming with a butt smack. Yeah, the guy from that terrible Mask movie, the second one. In 2015, Shia was arrested for public intoxication in Texas. He was jaywalking in front of a police drunk, and that was enough. Also, in 2015, he has a public argument with his girlfriend at the time, Mia Goth, in Germany, where he is caught on film, and Shia is claiming he would have seriously hurt her if not intervened and stopped. And when I say seriously hurt, I mean he said specific words that essentially made a threat against her life. In 2017, Shia was suspected of ripping off the scarf of a man outside a museum, then scratching his face. He then proceeded to chant in front of a security camera until he was arrested. Charges were dropped because lack of evidence, but we're gonna mention it. These charges just seem to get increasingly more avoidable. It just seemed like he was expected to just figure it all out by himself. But then again, no one is responsible for you or your pain. What do they say? That's life. In that same year, he was arrested for bumming a smoke off 2 guys. I didn't even know what bumming a smoke meant, but essentially it means like asking for a cigarette and not giving any type of compensation for it, or lying and saying that you will, but then you actually don't. But one of these 2 guys happens to be a cop who is black, and he's black, and that's important because of what happens next. And he is arrested. Shia LaBeouf is arrested once more, and while he's being arrested, he is just constantly using racial slurs because, like I mentioned, the officer is black, so he's saying things directed towards the black officer. And then he's also bragging about how rich he is, and he's a millionaire, he's got millionaire lawyers, and blah, 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 blah. This ruined his image, like really, really bad. He actually had to publicly apologize for this. After this point, he enters rehab, and everyone is thinking, all right, he's got to get better at this point. Things have to get better at this point, but they don't. And in 2020 was the big fish that sealed the deal. A lawsuit was filed against him for numerous allegations, and honestly, I'm not even sure if he will ever be able to come back from this one, and that is the mental and physical abuse of his former girlfriend, FKA Twigs. I would assume that I'm saying that right. I don't think you can mess that up. I can't even list all of the things he's accused of from this woman because I don't even want that on my channel. I'm not gonna lie. For starters, we got mental and physical abuse along with controlling and manipulating. And she gets into detail about specific things. I'm not going to go into those specific details. If you want, it's all on the internet. I'm just going over the general gist, the point. You know what I mean? In the same year, his ex, Carolyn Pho, if I'm saying that correctly, and co-star Shia, who's a singer, both admitted to uncomfortable experiences with Shia. It's almost like it never stops with the abuse. It doesn't matter what he's associated with, what he's a part of. That's sad, but it's good. It sounds like there's just abuse wherever he goes. 2022 is the Don't Worry Darling controversy, where Shia is reportedly fired from a project where the director publicly criticizes his work ethic, which causes Shia to retaliate via major news outlet Variety with receipts, aka text messages proving that was in fact not the truth, and the director was in fact having a falling out with her lead, and it was just easier to put it on Shia because all the stuff that was going on. Lastly, we get to the current timeline, 2026. As you know, recently Shia has been spotted around New Orleans for Mardi Gras, starting fights, saying slurs, breaking noses, and getting arrested, which by now I figured was in the past. I haven't seen anything from him in a couple years. Some of this stuff I'm just now finding out, but he literally gets out, and then the next day he just does the same thing. Like I don't know what to say. 15 years of this, and I've genuinely thought he would be making a strong, healthy comeback. Regardless, I pray that this does not last forever for him. I'm genuinely a fan of him. It hurts because I want to see him on the big screen doing his thing, but it just doesn't seem like he wants to even do that anymore. I don't know. I can't speak for him. That's why I'm making this video. Gotta admit, this video essay took a lot longer than I thought it would when I first started because I didn't know it was this much stuff. I don't think he was challenged much in his early life. He was a quick early star, and everybody probably kissed his butt. Kind of like how the #1 draft pick gets drafted onto a sports team, and that team will move hell and high water to make that person happy. That's what comes off with Shia. As in, when he was wrong, he was not corrected, just given more stuff, more money, more, hey, just keep doing this, keep dancing for us. Based off the abuse he experienced as a child, he probably never developed a healthy right or wrong system. I genuinely do wish the best for Shia. If this video ever reaches him, like, bro, it's nothing but love over here, man. I know that anger, I know that frustration, and I wish I could help take it away from you. But hurting people and abusing them is not right, and that you've spoken and you've said that that's not right. But I genuinely wish the best for Shia. Felt like we were close friends that just had a falling out. I still crack open one of his movies for some simple comfort every now and then. I love his manic energy, his charismatic characters, and of course those legendary crash outs. If you see Shia out there, maybe try giving him a hug instead of jamming your camera phones in his face and asking him a bunch of friggin' questions about the past and why he messed up and this, that, and the third. If you're not gonna help, just leave him alone. And that goes for anybody, celebrity, regular guy, janitor, school teacher, it doesn't matter. Let people live their lives. If you're not supporting, shut up. If you like this video, share it, promote good mental health, leave a comment with tips for others who may need help as well. And I genuinely wish everyone the best. I love you all. Peace.